Welcome to Xogot's modular series on 3D game development. This video will introduce the various 3D lighting nodes and how to use them. Now, when you first look at your 3D scene, you may think that there's already a sun, like there's good lighting. Some of that is from the world environment node. There is a sun disk, but this is actually just a preview. So I can turn that on and off, but it's not actually there in the game itself. But if I come over into the settings and go to light, I can play around with the angle of the light. I can play around with the color of the light. I can make it a little bit warmer or cooler depending on how I want that to come across. Lots of settings that I can adjust. Then I can just add the sun to the scene, which adds my directional light 3D. Now, the directional light 3D is just a really large light source far away, so the location doesn't matter at all. The angle does matter because it's going to make it look like different times of day depending on where this arrow is pointing. Now, if you look opposite of that arrow, you can see that sun disk. You can see that that color was changed by the color setting there. So that's the directional light 3D. Now, I just want to point out, if I head over into the night scene, which already has a directional light set up, and head over into the inspector, there are some different sky modes here. So the default is light and sky, where the directional light impacts both the objects in your scene and the sky itself. So you can also have the light only impact the objects in your scene, or just impact the sky. So you can do some interesting things as far as that goes. Now, we have a lot of settings that I'll get into in a little bit, but I want to head over to the room scene, and this is just an empty room. And I'm going to come over to the menu over here and just add an Omni light. And actually I can add a directional light 3D here as well. But I'm going to add an Omni light, which is just like a light bulb. So I can go into my Omni settings. I can increase the range so that the light is being cast over a larger distance. The location of the light does matter. The attenuation is sort of the fall off of the light intensity. So you can sort of smooth out that transition by adjusting the number here. So that is the Omni light. I'm going to hide that light, switch the node to the room, then just adding a spotlight. Spotlights are great for flashlights, theater lights, searchlights, that kind of thing. So now that that's added, I can go into the spot settings. I can increase the range so that I can actually see the light there. I can play around with the attenuation again to adjust the fall off or sort of smooth out that transition. I also can adjust the angle and the range from the widget over there. And I can make changes to the attenuation for the angle as well. So a few settings I can adjust over here for the spotlight. Now I'm going to exit the spotlight settings, and all of the lights have some different light and shadow options. So under light right here, we have the color of the light, we have the energy of the light, so how strong that's going to be. We have a projector option, so I can pick a resource, I can load an image, and as long as I have the shadow enabled, when I adjust the angle of the spotlight, the image is going to move along with the light, which is pretty fun. I'm going to turn back on my Omni light so we can see them both at the same time for a moment. And I'm going to actually just clear out the projector option. And I just wanted to show you that lights can also be negative. So I might not do this for a spotlight, but maybe I want to make this corner really ominous looking. Something is going to be jumping out from that corner. So I can add that negative light there to make it more ominous. So if I go further down, I do want to mention for all of the lights, you can control what layers they're impacting. So culling mask is just letting you specify the layer that you're working with. So in this case, everything's just on layer 1. So having that enabled will only work when that happens to be layer 1. Now I'm going to toggle off the negative setting there. I'm going to head back over to my day scene, and I'm going to maybe adjust the lighting over here so that my shadows are on my little platforms. And I'm just going to head over into the shadow settings. Let's get a little bit closer here. So the bias settings will help if there are any visual glitches with the shadows. So you can see it sort of can adjust the shape of the shadow a little bit. If there's self-shadowing or the shadow has some misalignment or it's not working properly on certain materials, adjusting the bias can help with that. We have the opacity, so we can make the shadows more translucent if that's something that we want. So I do want to mention that there are some caster masks. So this controls whether the shadow is actually being cast on certain layers. My platforms are all on layer 1, so if I turn off the mask for casting, then the shadow won't be visible. Now, there are some additional settings for both the Omni light and the spotlight. We have distance fade. When this is turned on, this determines where the light starts to fade, and then we can control the length, so how long it takes to do that. So a few other settings there. Now, there are a lot of other things you can do, so have some fun experimenting, and we'll be back with more videos.